Did you know that the key to releasing that old heartbreak, finding inner peace, and opening yourself up to a deeper love connection actually lies in our own ability to connect with nature's element? Well, neither did I. That's why today we are going to talk about how we can harness the power of earth, water, air, fire, and spirit to transform our emotional pain, clear any energetic blockages, and elevate our heart so that we can find true healing and connection. Hey there, beautiful souls, and welcome back to, that's right, another Mindful Monday. I'm your host, I'm your girl, Arika Trimnell, that's right, also known as the Mindful Mistress on social media. I'm here to offer you unique insights that really help us grow spiritually and embrace every single aspect of this crazy journey we are on. This is really what's gonna transform us and help us break our own prism of limitations. And that's something that I believe at my core because I've seen it myself and in the lives of my clients. So today we are going to talk about elemental love or elemental healing, which is really the art of harnessing the five elements together for a holistic and more comprehensive approach to healing our heart. So you ready? Let's dive in. So, to the topic of elemental healing, while we are familiar with healing practices that maybe are more individualized with the elements, whether it's just grounding in the earth or cleansing with a water cleansing ritual, I found, or what I've researched, is that the true magic happens when you're able to combine all five elements together. That's right, when you mix the earth, the water, the fire, the air, and the spirit for a more holistic healing of our heart. It's part of what I research is that this synergetic effect, working with all the elements to help us to release the pain and find emotional balance, and then just completely transform our heart into a new vessel for love and connections, connecting us back to source. So, throughout this episode, we're going to explore the cultural significance of the elements. We're going to talk about the science behind the healing powers of them. And then, of course, I'm going to give you some tips that you can use when you take away and that you can practice in your everyday life when it comes to healing the heart. Now, a lot of us, I have to say, being honest, even from my own experience, have dealt with issues of the heart. A lot of them stem from our early childhood. Thinking back to the environment which you first associated love, what did that look like? In some cases, it was chaotic. In some cases, love was a performative act. Love maybe had some strings attached, or love was attached to a worthiness. And so throughout life, we continue these cycles and find ourselves maybe either in relationships that we don't want to be in, um, certain connections, even thinking about uh, family relationships, all of that impacts our life and how we connect or don't connect with others. It really is a deep reflection of our ability to connect with ourselves. So, the concept of elemental healing or elemental love, bringing in all of the elements to help really transform that and not just taking a single element and leveraging that, if you will. So thinking about from the cultural significance, there are so many ancient traditions from, indigenous cultures to Ayurvedic practices that really emphasize grounding in the earth and in a way to just anchor yourself and release any any emotional burdens or issues, giving that back to the earth's energy. The beautiful thing about the earth is that the earth is actually a low vibe, but the earth provides that stability. It provides the strength. It creates a foundation for healing that most like the roots of the tree. When we're able to ground ourselves, we're able to support ourselves, feel more steady. Imagine yourself like the roots of the tree, taking up nutrients that you need, and then releasing that emotional pain back into back into the earth, back into the core that can transmute that energy and send it somewhere else, or transmute it and make it viable for a plant or a flower or somewhere in the universe, the stars, perhaps. So science actually backs the uses of using elements by grounding, of course, right? Placing your bare feet, which you've seen me ground, and if you watch my social media, you see facing your bare feet in my backyard. I love doing that. It helps improve your mood. It lowers inflammation, so try standing in grass. In some cultures, I know in some, like Asian cultures, that's what doctors actually recommend as a prescription for you to go outside and do some forest bathing, for you to walk in nature and be one with nature as a healing process, not a pill, not a drug. Um, not even talk therapy. Hey, go outside and spend some time in nature. So we're drawing from science, we're drawing from um ancient wisdom, and then we're drawing from our own life experiences. What resonates with our soul? So try walking on grass or maybe sand if that helps you. And maybe imagine you are connecting each step with each breath, and that connects to your heart, and it's releasing those blockages. And adding another layer is crystal healing for heart stability, holding a grounding crystal. So maybe as we're taking that walk, we're holding a grounding crystal, like green aventurine is a good one. Or, of course, everyone's favorite is the rose quartz. Having that in your hand to promote the calmness, to help you with forgiveness. Another one that often gets overlooked as a heart healer is malachite. Malachite is really good, especially if you have issues around forgiveness. And if you want to learn more about how to move through forgiveness, you can watch my past episode where I talk about you've got to move through the grief of who you were when whatever that incident happened, for you to even forgive the other person or forgive the situation. So I dive deeply into forgiveness in my last episode. So if you want to learn more about that, you can certainly do that. But definitely malachite crystal is something to do. So again, now we're combining additional elements. So you're not only getting the grounding as you're walking, you're holding that malachite crystal, you're holding that rose quartz crystal, which is anchoring you to the present moment, allowing your body to get that rest that it needs, allowing your body to get that reset. And the importance of that present moment is it brings you that sense of clarity and authenticity. Oftentimes, when we get so wrapped up in our emotions and in future thinking or past tense thinking, we aren't in this present moment, and we're not able to think from who we are today. We're thinking about maybe who we were a few years ago, a few days ago, or who we hope to be in the future. But by grounding in today's reality, you can plant the seeds that help your future self, and you can have the power to heal that younger version of you, the person who was still holding on to that pain, and allowing you to release that. Now, bringing in the beautiful wire, bringing in the beautiful water energy. Water is really good at helping us release emotions and getting some deep heart healing. So, from a cultural standpoint, water has seen as a very sacred element in cleansing, and so many cleansing rituals. I think of the goddess from the Orisha Yemiye, right? Um, Very much over water. And so there are a lot of rituals where you're going out into the ocean and you're sending blessings, or you're throwing things in the ocean as a way to release that. There are also Hindu rituals that involve the use of water. And then we think about from the Christian standpoint, we use water to baptize you, right? If you have been baptized as a child, and then maybe as you're older, it's again that cleansing of your former self, your shedding of that, and bringing a new person into that. So cleansing of the old and bringing the new. Water is a really, really good element to use for emotion, the the hope of adaptability, or the intention of adaptability of cleansing, because water flows. So just like water flows, so do our emotions. We never, well, I can't say we never get stuck in a state. Sometimes we do, But water helps us to understand that emotions are temporary, that they will consistently flow. The only thing that is constant is change. So, just like that, allowing your emotions to flow, allowing yourself to feel the emotion so that you can actually move through it, so you can actually allow it to pass versus getting stuck and stagnant. So, embracing water's healing energy really just helps us to release that heavy emotion and then create space to cultivate what we want to call in, whether that's love to flow in, um, whether that's forgiveness to flow in. So a really good water ritual that you can do for releasing emotional pain is a bath. A bath is a very simple ritual, but you can, oh my gosh, I don't know if you've seen on Instagram, but it's probably just the algorithm that I happen to be caught up in. But I've seen some just phenomenal baths. Now, granted, I probably wouldn't wanna clean those up afterwards, but where you're using a different elements, where when they're bringing in earth, where they're bringing in flowers, where you're bringing in the salt, you're bringing crystals, you're bringing in candles. So, essentially, you're using the 5 elements in water, which really help activate its healing and cleansing properties and helps promote healing, helps promote that release, helps promote the healing of the heart. So you can create that a ritual just like sitting taking a bath. You could make it extravagant. You can just do a bowl of water. You can create that bath and do it in a bowl where you've put flowers, where you put some crystals, where you put some candles. Maybe you speak life into this water. Maybe it's something you drink, maybe it's something you don't. Maybe it's something you have sitting in an area that is, significant to you or something that where you'll see, you'll be reminded to, flow, flow like water, and then, be reminding of the emotional release that you are getting from that water. So just a few things that you can do. There's also a ritual that's called Tears of Sacred Release. So, when we cry, it is definitely a physical thing. It also helps reduce our stress hormones like cortisol. But also, it can be a very cathartic release. It can be a very sacred spiritual thing. And so, how you would transform a traditional cry into a more sacred act a few different ways. One is with that intention, with really understanding and going in deep to the reason why you're crying, why you are releasing in this way. Um, the other thing I did on my I'm trying to think. I did on my social media a few weeks back where I showed myself crying and I showed myself pouring into myself with singing bowls, um, but showing myself releasing to make space for what I was calling in at that moment. So a great way, a somatic way, is doing a container hold. So container hold is when you're able to hold on to your rib cages as you're crying. So it does a numerous things that it does. But one of the things it does when you are holding yourself, that's a representation of spirit, knowing that you are supported, knowing that you are guided. It also helps reset your nervous system with whatever it is you're releasing, especially if it's something that comes from a trauma you've been activated or triggered. That container hold is super powerful in helping you reprogram that state. So whatever the activation was, you now can neutralize that activation. So I do a lot of the container hold when I am crying. I also do rocking. Rocking is another good thing to do that really just helps soothe and calms the nervous system so that you can reprogram whatever that release is. Let's reprogram that so this doesn't become a cycle that you don't constantly be triggered by whatever that was, that we're able to actually get to the root of the issue and have that transformative healing that we are all looking for. So another thing is fire. I don't know if you know, but I'm an Aries, so me and fire, we go hand in hand. We're like this. But the cultural significance of fire has long been associated with wild transformations. We actually talked about that last week too, when I talked about forgiveness and grief, and I brought up the symbolism of the phoenix and how it rises from the ashes, how that transformation happens. And so there are so many cultures like the Vedic culture that use fire as a symbol of releasing of burden. So fire represents it represents passion. Fire represents that true transformation that forged by fire. It also represents our inner power, our strength. So thinking about our solar plex, it helps us burn away what no longer serves us and turning our pain into courage, turning that test into a testimony. And it helps renew our purpose and our connection with spirit. So think of all those beautiful things with fire. So knowing that, of course, using a candle is a beautiful way to bring fire into your everyday life. Candle glazing, I can't say, candle gazing, there we go, is an activity that really promotes a meditative state, a tranquil state where you could gaze at a candle. Anyone who's been in a ceremony, specifically like a plant medicine ceremony where you're sitting around the fire, typically the shaman has you look into the fire, has you gaze into the fire. The fire acts as a very powerful, transformative mirror, if you will, and showing you things that are areas of opportunity for you to work on, showing you some maybe paths to cross. So that's a really good thing that you could do. The other thing, and we kind of talked about that, is writing down what are your heavy burdens, what concerns you right now, and then burning them. It's so cathartic. You know, hey, I'm an Aries. I love burning stuff. You ain't gotta tell me twice. It's so cathartic to write something down and then burn it. Watch it dissolve and then watch how you feel. Where do you feel that in the body when you burn what no longer serves you? When you finally let it go, when you finally let spirit, God, universe to take over and you start really co-creating. I can't tell you how powerful that is and how many different ways and avenues your life will change when you do that. You know, the other thing is the air. Air is that lightness that we need, the levity. And in so many practices, again, including, you know, of course, yoga, we bring in the breath so much in movement with one movement, one breath. It's the bridge between the mind and the body. It's what connects our mind, body, and spirit, which really symbolizes our life force, our chi, our our inner strength inside. So air represents the breath, the inspiration, the mental clarity. And so working with the breath is a really good way to help clear any emotional heaviness, inviting that lightness back into your heart, inviting the fun aspect of love back into your heart. So, of course, doing some breath work like some pranayama techniques where science actually backs that doing the pranayama really stimulates that vagus nervous system and promotes the calmness. Again, same thing like I said, the container hole helps you with that. It helps reduce the stress. So a simple way, just taking a deep breath, inhaling deeply, expanding your heart, maybe putting your hand on your heart, and then exhaling with that emotional release, releasing that burden, releasing that heaviness. Imagine the lightness coming in to feel when you inhale again. Now, I love using all of my senses when it comes to healing. And so aromatherapy is another good way to add to this. So you're doing breath work and then you've got some lavender, or I deal with sinuses, so I'm always using like menthol or eucalyptus or like some lemon balm. So using some essential oils, you can use a rose because that helps with the heart connection. Just taking that practice, just you know, turn it up just a little bit to the next step. So doing that breath work, adding in some elements of essential oils to just really help lift your mood and your spirits and stimulate your nervous system so that it brings you back to your center, to your core, your peace. I think of the peace that passes all understanding, that peace right there. And then, of course, we have the spirit. The spirit is the opening of the heart to universal love. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm a firm believer of you cannot love anything more than you love yourself. And loving yourself to me is that universal love. It's the love and compassion you're able to have for yourself. Then you can reflect that to others. And there's so many traditions where they use spirit as a source of life. And that concept, even coming from trying to think the Hindu concept, it's the Atman Hindu concept, or the divine spark in indigenous belief is spirit represents that divine. It represents, it's really, you are you are spirit in human form. So that love is also an extension of you. It is you. So being able to connect with spirit is connecting with yourself, and knowing that yourself is reflected in everything that is around you. So tapping into ourselves, tapping into our spiritual our spiritual side represents our connection with the universe and allows energy to truly transcend the pain, because we aren't thinking of life from just this 3D perspective. We're now taking in the 5D perspective. We're now taking in all these other elements that are also us, not just maybe the emotional pain that we have gone through. And some ways to cultivate this could be through a heart-centered meditation, where meditation, as we all know, studies have shown, have some tremendous benefits, and also can help with our heart coherence, what we talked about earlier this month. So aligning our heart, mind, and spirit together. It could be a simple one. It doesn't have to be a long one. Closing your eyes, place your hands on your heart, and just imagine a beautiful radiant light coming from there, because there's a beautiful light coming from each and every one of us. So we just have to be open to see it, and the awareness. So another way is obviously calling on our guides, our angels. They're here all around us, and using your higher self to connect with that really helps you, again, separates you from this 3D experience, and opens you up to the vastness that you are. So it's combining all of these elements together really helps us to address our pain from a holistic perspective, allowing us to a ground and stability, allowing us to release our emotions, allowing us to transform, allowing us to cleanse, allowing us to breathe in that clarity, and then connect to the divine love. And it's when you're able to incorporate all of these elements, it becomes this ripple effect. What I'll say is, this elemental love effect can really transform not only yourself, but your relationships, your health, your sense of purpose, allowing you to elevate to a vibration and live life actually flows with love and true connection from your center, from your core, from who you are meant to be. Um, Not who others made you to be, not through your pain and your trauma, but through your healed parts. So that is how, by connecting with all of the elements, you can get this truly holistic healing way of the heart, at least in my opinion. Again, I'm offering a perspective. You don't have to take it. It's an invitation. You do not have to show up to every invite you get, right? So it's really about truly transforming your pain into a source of love, into a source of strength, and to a source of connection. And by working with all of the elements, you can open up your heart to its fullest capacity and experience a life that really flows from love, from passion, and from purpose. I hope this was helpful. I hope maybe I planted some seeds, and maybe they don't grow today or tomorrow or next week, but maybe in a year or two from now, something will resonate with you, or maybe you'll find yourself doing some of these things, and realize how you've changed from the person you were to the person you are now, and how you are continuously to becoming more and more connected with love, aka connected with yourself. Thank you so much for joining me on this Mindful Monday. I hope to see you next week. Bye.